I just got out of work. Maybe you can tell I'm wearing a tie. No dad shoes today, dress shoes. And let me be honest, I didn't have the best day. In fact, you could say I had a bad day. So in today's English lesson, we are going to talk about 6 ways you can say you had a bad day in your next English conversation. And one thing that always makes me feel better is taking a walk in the woods. So let's take a walk in the woods and learn some English. I'm a teacher. My wife, Jamie, is also a teacher. So one of the first things we will say to each other after a long day is, "How was your day?" You might hear that from a native English speaker after work. "How was your day?" Or you might hear, "How'd it go?" Did you hear how quickly I said that? How did it go? How'd it go? How'd it go? One thing that can go wrong at work is when technology doesn't work. For example, today our internet was on the fritz. If something is on the fritz, it doesn't work well all the time. So our internet was on the fritz. So that means I couldn't do most of my lessons. Most of my students use the internet every day. So when Jamie gets home tonight and she asks, "Hey, how did it go?" I will probably say, "Oh, it was the worst." Now, I am exaggerating. I am saying something that's not quite true. I am making it bigger than it really is. It wasn't the worst day I've ever had, but if you want to explain to someone, "How was your day?" and it was bad, you can say, "Oh, it was the worst." What about coworkers? Those are people you work with, your coworkers. Well, maybe one of your coworkers had a bad day and that caused you to have a bad day. So another way to talk about having a bad day in English is you can say, "Nothing went right." How did it go? "Oh, nothing went right today." You're still probably exaggerating because I'm sure a few things did go right, but you can just say, "Oh, nothing went right today." Has this ever happened to you? Has your boss ever gotten mad at you for something you did? That could be a bad day. And if that happens to you, another way in English you can say that you had a bad day is, "Oh, I should have just stayed in bed." Because guess what? If you stayed in bed, if you never went to work, you wouldn't have had that bad day. I need to be careful. I think if I walk too much, the crunch of the leaves is too loud and you won't be able to hear me. So let me stop. What if you're late to work? Maybe there was too much traffic. Maybe your alarm didn't go off. Another way to say you had a bad day in English is, "It was the pits." It was the pits. Now, if you are a younger person, like maybe under 40 years old, you might not want to say this. It's only older people who say, "Oh, it was the pits." Do you know what the pits are? Think about a fruit, like a peach. I'll put a picture right up there of a peach. In the middle of the peach is the pit. You can't eat the pit. I don't know why there is a pit in a peach anyway. Probably has something to do with it growing, but I know you can't eat it, so it's the pits. Another way to say it was a bad day is, "It was the pits." Look at this. Right next to where I'm walking are some abandoned train tracks. Now be careful. These next two, you can't say to everybody. They are definitely informal. Maybe don't tell your grandmother this. But another way to say that you have had a bad day in English is, "Oh, I had a crappy day. Now, I am not going to explain what crap is. You will have to look that up on your own. But let's just say it's not pleasant. It's pretty bad. But that is a pretty common, informal way to say you had a bad day. It was pretty crappy. You know, one thing that could make your day at work really bad is that you ran out of some sort of supply. Maybe toilet paper. Maybe at work, the boss forgot to order toilet paper, so your office didn't have any toilet paper the entire day. That would be a bad day. And you could say it sucked. Yeah, it sucked is a very informal way to say you had a bad day, but it's a very common way to say it. I wouldn't say my day at work sucked. I might just say, it wasn't the best. That is a bonus way to say you had a bad day. It wasn't the best. That's it for this lesson, but that doesn't mean you have to stop learning English. Right up there is an English lesson where I visited a tourist town out in the state of Arizona. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.